My name is Timothy Kofeld.
I'm Ariel Ford, and I'm a math major here at UMBC.
My name is Toomey. I am a sophomore. I'm a computer science major, and I hope to one day work in the gaming industry.
Hi, I'm Julianne Townsend. I'm a freshman, and I go to UMBC.
My name is Alvin George. I was born in Maryland. I go to UMBC. I'm an econ major, and I'm a senior this year.
My name is Nora Henderson. I'm 20 years old. I'm a junior at University of Baltimore, and I'm a forensic studies major.
Hi guys, my name is Philip Wilson. I'm 22 years old. I'm an English major here at UMBC.
My name is Joanna Kaba. I am a second semester sophomore here at UMBC. I study modern languages and linguistics. My track is Korean language and culture.
When you do see a female lead in a movie, and like the movie is like based on that female, it is like always a love movie. Like it's like always like a rom-com, some sort of drama, because like that's just like the stereotype that's like around women. Like, you know, we're very like emotional, like sometimes we're too emotional and like irrational, and so like we just have that like drama aspect put on us. So I feel like whenever you like think of like, you know, Nicholas Sparks like type movies, you're always just like, oh, like the female girl, she's like, you know, this person's actually just like too caught up in her emotions. But like when you see like action movies, that's when like the male is like the lead, you know, or like investigation movies, you always see like the man is the person that's like figuring things out. So I think like those are specific like things, like men figure things out and like women are like emotional.
When I first started playing video games, I played a lot of MMORPGs, right? And that's the one you have a character and you run around like fighting monsters. Anyways, I played a lot of those, and there was a mentality about a woman's role in that game around that time that women would, because all of them had these really sexy outfits that were not, like they covered nothing, and there was an idea that women would go into the game and they would basically like seduce men into protecting them. Like you'd flirt with the right guy and he will fight for you, he'll put you on his team, and all the men will do the fighting. You just like kind of gain from you just get the experience points, you get the armor, you get the whatever from just like being around them. And that was like a serious mentality when I first started playing. And that right there is a stereotype that a woman needs a man to protect her. The fact that it went from real life into a game, especially when it's not like women aren't making games. Like, in terms of technology and computer science in general, women have always been there from the beginning. So it's like, we're there, so why is this a thing that exists?
In media, definitely, as far as like sports media, I can say, when it comes to how sports coverage is for women's sports, it's definitely something where it's almost like automatically women's sports considered unpopular, not because they're not talented or, you know, can't play. Just because they're women. You know, I'm a big WNBA fan, big women's basketball fan, and it's incredible. I love the game of basketball, and I feel like no matter who plays it, it's entertaining because it's basketball. You know, that's how I see it. And a lot of times, you know, a lot of men especially say like, oh, why are they playing basketball? Why isn't she in the kitchen? You know, it's a lot of just ridiculous ignorance, you know, that goes around when it comes to, you know, some men in sports that feel like some women are like not supposed to play sports or no sports.
In you know, rap culture nowadays, I feel like women have like not only nowadays, historically been objectified.
I think the best form or the best resource that the media uses to kind of perpetuate these stereotypes is advertising. If you look at commercials where they advertise alcoholic beverages, usually, you know, it's a man, he tends to be relatively young, and he's kind of got his life together, seems to be pretty well-to-do and stuff like that. And then you look at the women in the commercial, and they're usually treated as not as objects of affection or perhaps another person that could be interested in consuming that product, but they usually end up being a product themselves.
I think of I'd say the opposite gender saying negative things or negative characteristics about a different gender. They might think the majority of that gender does that, but it's not exactly true.
I think of like putting people in like boxes. I think of like limiting people for what they can and cannot do. I think of like assigning people to like specific roles in society, and it's like work, school, family, kind of all aspects of life.
I think of some people like assuming certain things about like a gender that may or may not be true, but they assume it and it's usually like a negative thing.
Definitely yes. I actually had a specific instance recently at the restaurant. I went into the table, and I'm like one of 3 male servers in my restaurant. And I went to the table, and the gentleman was like, "Oh, out of all these pretty ladies, can I cuss?
Yes.
Out of all these pretty ladies, I got the hairy ass man." And I was like, "Ha ha ha! Can I take your drink order?"
Yes. So I think in one case, like in talking to like a girl, just kind of like not necessarily like just kind of like talking to them in terms of asking like a general question. I think she thought that I was trying to hit on her or something like that.
Well, I'm Nigerian, so I'm Nigerian, so in my culture, at least more traditionally, so in my family, because we're a bit traditional, there's a whole concept that as a woman, by the time you're like a certain age, you're supposed to start learning how to clean, or how to cook, how to take care of like younger siblings, basically how to take care of a household. So yeah, growing up in that is already it's just like a boatload of stereotypes, just how I'm supposed to be as a woman, how I should talk, who I should talk to, things like that.
I don't think necessarily based on my gender, maybe more based on my sexuality, but I haven't experienced that.
Absolutely. I would say majority of my life, I'm a big football person. I love sports. Well, majority football, but I love sports. And when I would go to talk to other guys who you would think, a lot of people think guys know more about sports than girls. When I would try to have conversations with those people, they would think, oh, you don't really know anything because you're a girl. But girls can know about sports too. We're not just all, well, we know about pretty clothes and getting our hair done and nails. And we can talk sports. We can talk a good game with sports.
I think traditionally, just as an example, like women were always seen as like servile, like to men. And I think that's just kind of like carried forward into the present.
I think in the case of patriarchal societies, they exist to kind of keep the status quo as it is. So, it keeps the woman under the submission of the man.
Gender stereotypes exist as a way to categorize people. When you have stereotypes, you're able to put everyone in this one box. Or this is what a woman should be like, this is what a man should be like, and this is how I shall treat you, and I shall treat you accordingly.
I would say that it depends on the stereotype. Most stereotypes are known to be negative, but I think as long as they don't set the person of that specific gender back and it doesn't hold you back, that certain behaviors or certain attitudes or things aren't like seen as a detriment to your gender or whatever, then it could be subjective.
I think there's like stereotypes that are good and bad, but I think generally speaking, I think there's a lot more in American society. I think there's more positive stereotypes placed upon men than there are for women. So I think that's really unfortunate, and I think that's something that should be changed.
Well, it all kind of depends on like where you're coming from, because there can be positive and negative stereotypes. There are some positive stereotypes that will say that as a woman you're strong, or you're emotional. Emotional can be seen as a negative thing, but I see it as you're able to sympathize with other people. You can connect with other people on a deeper basis. But then there are also negative stereotypes that say, oh yeah, as a woman, you're out of control. Your hormones always making you go crazy. You can't hold a position of power, And then for men, like, a lot of theirs are more positive, but they can get positive ones where it's like, as a man, you can't hold a position of power. But you also, negative ones saying that an emotional man means that he's homosexual.
Definitely negative. I was like trying to correct my room, like, can they be positive? No. I think they're very negative. Once again, it's like saying that, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do this, oh, you can't pay for me because you're a woman, or you can't go in this mud puddle because, women don't go in mud puddles, or you can't work a construction job because you're a woman and you're not strong enough, or kind of like on the flip side, but to lesser degree, like, oh, like, I can't, like, be nice, or I can't smile a lot, or I can't cry in front of people because then I'm, like, not manly enough. That's easy. Guys, men do, definitely.
The people who are doing the stereotyping against the other gender.
Men. I think men do because, like I said before, I feel like personally, and this is just my own opinion, not based on any type of fact, but I think that, there's more positive stereotypes placed upon men.
Men.
Yeah.
Men and whoever is giving the stereotype, honestly. Because whoever's giving the stereotype has that power over putting that person down and making them feel like this is what you're supposed to do, and if you're doing something different than what is the preconceived notion to do, then you're wrong. And I would say men because women have more stereotypes than men do, and they're mostly the ones creating those stereotypes based on history.
Well, if you look at all the gender stereotypes that exist today, or at least the ones that you know of, you usually know a pattern of women being more like submissive and docile, and their job is in the home, things like that, right? Whereas a male stereotypes towards men will be more, a man has to be strong, independent, powerful, able to make important decisions quickly as well. So you look at that, women are like right here, men are like right here.
I would say worse, just because the present day of technology and media and technology is advancing so fast. There's so much more you can say on Facebook, and then there's Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, you name it.
I think in a lot of cases they've improved, like, maybe not the stereotypes themselves, but I think people continually, like, prove the stereotypes wrong, like, as feminism has, like, risen and become a really strong, powerful, like, great movement.
I wouldn't say yes due to just the acceptance of gender not being so binary anymore.
The whole concept of getting better or worse is just like a scale that shouldn't exist for something like this, for a topic like this. Because I should never be at a point where I'm thinking, well, you know what, at least we're better than we were before. Because couldn't that just stop me from wanting to go any further?
I don't know. I think it's something that's, like, really ingrained into society. Like a certain way of thinking about if you're a certain gender, then you act a certain way. And I do think, like I said before, like, it's gotten better, but I don't know if it's ever gonna be, like, completely abolished.
Maybe like a far, far future. I still think as a whole we have like a hard time letting women lead, like in general. And I think until we have like more representation for women in like higher positions, that we're not gonna go very far.
I think we're making a lot of progress by having these meaningful conversations about about race and gender and inequality and different things like that. But I feel like we still have more work to do.
We could get to a point in time where we are equal. But with every issue, with every time period, there's always someone going against it. So even if we look at a situation, we think this is it, this is perfection. Women are equal, men are equal, people of everything, we're equal, we understand each other. There's always going to be someone behind some building somewhere saying, I don't like this.
I'm like, I don't think it'll ever happen. I think people are too cruel to let that happen. Like, completely, you know? Like, I think it'll get better. I definitely think it'll get better. But I don't see it going away for good.